Okay, welcome back. Week 5, and it's day 4. The goal today is to understand and be able to immediately locate the Twin Peaks cell signal, and then we're going to go through and review all the AO cell signals that you've learned this week. So let's go, and here we go. It's actually going to be a review for you. Again, this is just the opposite of what the Twin Peak AO bicell signal was. Bicell, that didn't make a lot of sense, the AO bisignal. Okay, this is the only cell signal above the zero line. The first peak must be a larger positive number than the second peak. Your trigger bar will be a red bar and a smaller positive number than either peak. If any bars cross zero, the signal will become invalid. And the saucer bi will be created before a Twin Peaks cell. That's a key. You may want to remember that. You're always going to create a saucer bi before a Twin Peaks cell. Here it is created. Here's our zero line, or this represents our zero line. A is going to be peak number 1. Notice it's the tallest peak in the sequence. Then we have a change in momentum. Momentum pulls down here. B comes out. At this point, we've created a saucer bi, haven't we? The next bar comes out, though, and it's red. So we're going to cancel our saucer bi, and we now have a Twin Peaks cell. Now, this is only if it's in accordance to the gator. If you're going against the gator and the overall trend, you won't take it. I just want to remind you of that. But the importance here is that A is a higher positive number than B, and then C comes out and is a red bar. A lot of times where you're going to see these Twin Peaks signals are going to be in a divergence. So if you've got divergence, you know your first peak has to be taller than your second peak, and you have to have a change in momentum. So you may see this a lot towards the end of a trend, and you may want to pay attention. We may not actually take the signal, but it's going to be a pre-warning to what's coming. So here it is on the chart. You can see increase in momentum, then we have a decrease in momentum. This is our first peak. Momentum decreases. Notice how many bars are in here. Doesn't matter. Second peak, at that point, we had a bi signal. You notice it was square right here, indicated we had a bi signal. Next day came out a change in momentum, which canceled the bi, and now triggers our Twin Peaks cell. So one tick below the low of that bar is going to be our Twin Peaks cell stop. And notice it was filled the next day. So the Twin Peak is definitely one of the most difficult signals, but once you get an understanding of it, it should not be a problem. It's really a nice precursor or a warning of what's happening, because any time that the end of a trend is approaching, you're going to have your magic bullets. Now, you don't know about magic bullets yet. You're going to learn them later in the course, but once you do, you're going to understand or have a better understanding of what the Twin Peak represents. So remember, we're not always going to take the signal. We always look at the gator before we decide and make sure we've had a fractal as our first entry. But notice that it's going to be the first thing you see usually before a change of trend. Then you'll see the cross the line. Then you'll see the saucers created. Okay, so here we are. We're going to take a look at the review of all the signals. Remember, these are going to be the pristine signals. So we're just looking at the saucer bi from this point to this point. Here's our cross the line bi. We went from a negative number to a positive number. In the Twin Peaks, try to remember that if a Twin Peaks bi, your trigger bar is going to be a green bar. So that means both of your peaks will be red. The key here is that this peak is a larger negative number than this peak. And then, of course, the next bar comes out as a bi signal. Now, if we come down here to the saucer cell, it's just the opposite of the saucer bi. We have an increase in momentum, a decrease in momentum, another increase in momentum. That creates our saucer cell. The next one, we went from a positive number to a negative number. That created our across-the-line cell. Now, finally, we have the Twin Peaks cell. Above zero, your first peak is a green bar. We have a decrease in momentum. Second peak is another green bar, but lower than the first. And then, of course, we have the red bar that comes out and triggers our Twin Peaks cell signal. So now we have covered all the different signals that have been created by the AO. What you have left is going to be some reviews and some practice pages. So I'm going to go through one practice page, and the rest you'll need to go through on your own in your workbook, your manual, and then, of course, you need to look through your computoral. So we'll see you tomorrow.